So what we have here is 4 ingredients that are supposed to pack on muscle for you.
Really?
This is an all-in-one formula. We're gonna break this sucker down.
Just give it to me straight.
And then you guys can decide if this is something you want to purchase or not. So let's get into this.
Here we go.
What's happening, guys? Hope it is going well. Today we're going to review all-in-one muscle building stack that has 4 ingredients. Well, basically 3 added into a protein powder, all in. And we're going to go over the ingredients so you know what the heck you're putting in your body. And we'll go over my experience or my thoughts and who this would be good for. So first, let's get the flavor out of the way. We have here is a chocolate ice cream flavor, and it has no added sugar to it. And what's nice about this one, when we go over the ingredient profile, you'll see that this doesn't have any ACE-K and it doesn't have any sucralose in it. So this is a healthy sweetened product, which means that this chocolate ice cream flavor is not going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
So this is probably about a 7.5 as far as flavors go, but you really have to take in consideration that this is all sweetened with healthy ingredients. Now let's get into the ingredient profile. So getting the servings out of the way, right on the top of the label, you can see we have 30 servings. 1 scoop is supposed to be 49.5 grams. Pack that scooper, flat level it. You're right in there, right in that 50 gram mark. Moving on to the rest of the label. So we have 180 calories, not bad. Looks like 1 gram of fat, 3 sugars, 200 milligrams of sodium, and then we have 30 grams of protein per serving.
That look good!
As well as 300 milligrams of calcium, 290 milligrams of potassium, 5 grams of creatine, 5 grams of L-glutamine, and 1 gram of HMB.
What?
Which we're going to talk about all those ingredients. Before we do, let's get into the ingredients below the label here. We have whey protein isolate. So 30 grams of whey protein isolate is going to yield probably 27, 28 grams of protein. Then we have some L-glutamine. We have some creatine monohydrate. We have some calcium HMB. We have some sodium chloride, which is probably from some extra added salt. That's where we get the sodium content in the ingredient profile there. We have some natural flavors, and get this, no ACE-K, no sucralose. We have stevia extract and monk fruit extract as a flavoring. So now onto the ingredients. Let's first start with sodium. Sodium helps with hydration, but it also helps trigger muscle contractions because it helps with the release of calcium within the muscles. Then on to calcium. Calcium helps with bone density with the help of vitamin D3 and vitamin K2, but it also helps with the contractional capability of the muscle by helping actin and myosin fibers bind together. Those are the 2 fibers that have to bind together to actually create the contraction. Now on to potassium. Then we have potassium that helps with hydration, but also helps with nerve signaling alongside with sodium to help with contractional capability. Then we have creatine, which is comprised of 3 amino acids, L-arginine, glycine, and methionine. Creatine is considered an osmolyte because it draws water into the cell, and this cell swelling creates an anabolic response within the body. This anabolic response actually increases glycogen synthesis, DNA synthesis, and decreases muscle protein breakdown. Creatine also has a direct influence on increasing muscle protein synthesis because it works or activates a protein within the body called MAPK. In addition, supplementing with creatine spares or preserves SAMe within the body. This is important because SAMe is one of the main methyl donors within the body. Keeping SAMe elevated in the body helps reduce homocysteine levels and reduces fatty liver. Creatine can also protect the cells from excitotoxicity. You see, this excitotoxicity is caused from glutamate production. See, what happens is when ATP production is low within the body, we actually increase, or on a cellular level, we increase intercellular calcium levels. Now, these intercellular calcium levels create glutamate byproducts, which increases or compromises the integrity of the cell membranes. Higher levels of ATP production will preserve membrane integrity. So supplementing with creatine increases ATP production, which will lower glutamate production. Hope that makes sense. Now moving on to glutamine. So glutamine is used throughout the body for many different processes, from the gut to the brain, and this is how it's done. In the brain, it's a precursor to the excitability neurotransmitter glutamate, which you talked about with creatine, and the calming neurotransmitter GABA in the brain. This affects alertness, concentration, focus, memory, and mood. In the intestines, it helps with repair of leaky gut because it regulates intestinal tight junction barriers, which are specialized structures formed by proteins between intestinal endothelial cells that act as selective barriers in the gut to prevent unwanted substances from leaking from the intestinal lumen and then into the bloodstream. It also plays a role in glutathione production, especially under stress, trauma, illness, and this helps with the body's ability to repair itself. It also helps with the production of energy because this converts into AKG. Now, AKG is talked about a lot within the anti-aging community because it is something that we lose as far as the ability to produce it and the amount as we grow older. This is done by the body's process to produce other substrates. So it actually converts glutamine into AKG and glutamate in the body. And this also helps protect the kidneys and the brain from ammonia buildup. And how does it do this? It accomplishes this by glutamine's ability to be converted into glutamate. And then glutamate attaches itself to ammonia that might be floating around in the body and turns itself back into glutamine. So that ammonia molecule and that attachment allows it to convert back into glutamine. And this is very important because even small amounts of ammonia in the brain or the kidneys or throughout the body can be very toxic. So there's also been a few studies where glutamine can increase growth hormone within the body. And it does this by increasing brain-derived nootropic factor, which is a repairing protein that is secreted by the brain to repair neurons. Now we're moving on to HMB, which is a metabolite of leucine. Now when leucine is metabolized in the body, it's broken down into two primary substrates, which is HICA and HMB. And we're talking about HMB. We're not going to talk about HICA, but HMB has been shown to actually decrease muscle protein breakdown. And the way this all works is leucine and HMB activate a protein called mTORC1, which mTORC1 is solely responsible for the activation of muscle protein synthesis. This stimulation is caused when HMB actually suppresses another protein called cestin-2. And then when mTORC is activated, it stimulates translation and elongation, which is basically the activation or a pathway to the spiking of muscle protein synthesis. And then it inhibits autophagy, decreasing muscle protein and cellular breakdown or degradation. So most of the studies that have been done in trained athletes or endurance athletes have been done in high volume type training. And they found that HMB supplementation is shown to reduce creatine kinase and lactate levels, which is going to allow you to push further and longer during your training sessions. But when you do comparison of leucine to HMB on muscle protein synthesis spikes, leucine outperforms HMB by a long shot. But then on the other hand, HMB has outperformed leucine when it comes to anti-catabolic effects, which means reducing muscle protein breakdown. So let's talk about protein just for a split second before we get into my take on this product here. So how much protein should you be getting per day? 0.75 to 1.2 grams per pound of lean body mass. And the most important meals of the day, they've done studies, the first meal and the last meal of the day.
Shit.
So moving on to my take on this product here. So it's a good product. I had no stomach upsets or anything. So there's no like probiotics or enzymes in here. And it really digested well. No gas, no bloating. I think the stack is super simple. If you are someone who, unlike myself, who doesn't want to, dose creatine, dose glutamine, dose HMB, but you want all those and you don't want to buy separate products, then definitely this is worth it. 30 grams of protein, 28 yielding probably 27. You get 5 grams of creatine and glutamine, 1 gram of HMB. I don't have any codes for this. I'm giving you my honest opinion on this product here. For an all-in-one hitter, it's actually worth it. You can probably take 2 doses of these a day because my concern is HMB, the studies, real good studies as far as limiting the anti-catabolic effects has been on 3 grams a day, not just 1. And there has been some good studies on 2 grams to 3 grams. So I would suggest either buying some extra HMB if you're looking for that effect and you want to get the proper doses per the studies, and then add 1 to 2 grams. If you're only taking 1 scoop of this, you can take 2 because you can take anywhere between 3 to 10 grams of creatine. You can take up to 20 grams of L-glutamine. And then of course, like I said, 2 to 3 grams of HMB is probably the sweet spot. So I would have loved to see them put 2 grams in like 1 serving, but I know there's a cost effect to some of this stuff. I've been dealing with putting products together too, and sometimes you have to sacrifice a few things to make it work. So 2 scoops of this would be 15 days. 1 scoop would be 30. My concern is just the HMB. If you really want the effects on that, you're going to have to buy it separately and dose it in there if you're only doing 1 scoop of this. So this is my review on this. I hope this helps. Other than that, this is Dave. I'm signing off. I got to get on with the rest of my day, and we will see you guys next time on the channel.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.